G'day, crew. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about yet again, but maybe this will be an interesting one. Who knows? Um, Before I forget, yesterday we went over white disharmony. Anti-white disharmony, um, which I believe it was either Tree Godfather, Blue Flame, or Hans Skipper who came up with it. When you should be feeling your Western self, there should be Western positivity, white positivity and everything. But an anti-white comes in and the whole vibe changes. Or an example someone was telling us, she and her husband were working at the store, and I didn't really catch what the anti-white said that she was saying, but and anti-whites in particular. There was a whole group of them, anti-white, non-whites, coming in, and this real respectable elder white man came in, and just the way he was getting looked at, without anything having to be said, there is a disharmony, and that's what we will refer to as anti-white disharmony. Awesome, you know. I can't remember who came up with it, if it was Tree Godfather, Hans de Skipper, or the Blue Flame. But, yes, adopted. It's brilliant, and I saw that we need to offer solutions when some anti-white news really bothers us. I was feeling really messed up when I spoke on the beating of Clay Weeks by his anti-white daycare working monster, non-white anti-white pig. And after we kind of touched on that in Discordant Dragons during the White Dragon, like, how can you, and it's very it's a very healthy watch. I suggest you watch Discordant Dragons and pay attention to what we go over during the White Dragon, because as I remember it, we encourage you to tell your kid that they're white, of course, that they will be seen that way and treated unfairly for it. Like the Jews equip their kids with anti-Semitism. We need to equip ours with anti-whiteism. It's very important that they know everything they love, everything about them. There are people who want to take that away, who want to harm you for who and what you are. And yeah, I wanted to come back with some solutions, but I don't know what to say anymore. I hardly know what to do. I make the best use of my energy that I can, and it just it's like I'm going into some hibernation or dormancy. I don't know. I'm trying to stay in good shape, and trying not to talk too slow. I fell asleep through last night's live, which really sucks because I'm sure I could have contributed and was just dead tired. I'm always ready to get out of here, and that seems to occupy a lot of my mind to where too much of the time I just want to sleep. That's a worry. And I don't like to not get things done just day to day, just watch, you know, I used to be involved in life a lot more like a participant, and now I feel a little more like an observer. Why am I here? I don't want to ramble on too much. Uh, I I like to keep the lens covered so it can't steal my soul and tried to come back down. Gosh. I'll have to get an actual camera sometime or something. Every time I record, I see the reflection of my phone in my glasses. Yeah. Would like to be looking at you all more directly. Let me just. It's another morning. Don't know if I've worked today. The air was pretty nice when I went outside, it's something between cool and warm. I may go on a walk soon. But I want to get the camera off me to clear my mind, some of it. But I'll just roll with it like I always do. I, yeah, my days have not been all too pleasant, but I don't give up, really. I just so badly need out of here. I don't know how much more I want to talk about that today, all the anti-whiteism on my street and how I'm always having to protect my mind from it. And, this just isn't the place. This isn't the place for the type of growth I was ready for when I moved out of the last place, which was anti-white as hell, and they were playing with their guns. I was all alone and still loudly and unabashedly telling them that I don't have to take their anti-white shit, that I will fight for my people at all costs. And not in those words, I made it nice and disgusting for them some of the time, I had to act crazy. And, yeah, I was. I just need somewhere less anti-white than here in the last place. And that's the simple truth of that. It just bothers me every day. every day I'm just like, I have got to get out of here. I must get out of here. And, you know, takes up a lot of my mind, but as long as I protect it, and I'm looking forward to the rewatch of last night's live at No White Guilt. Um, I'm looking forward to shooting better videos when I do that. It really bothers me how slow I am in some of these, like how slowly I talk. You'd have to play it and fast forward for it to be like the other content creators are talking to you. And I hope I'm not giving you all the impression that that's how I am in real life. There's just something a little different about being in the spotlight on the world stage, I guess. But, like I said, I can hang. There's so many ums, and I talk much faster when you get to know me. I can't even help it sometimes. I'm just like, whoa, look at me go. Maybe a little more boost. Find me a drink for that. Maybe this one won't be too long. I'd gladly show you the outside. I don't think I'll dox myself this way. Shit. Yeah, pretty sure. Maybe I can edit that out. But, maybe won't need to, right? We have pretty good sunrises. Except you can see that it's not too rural here too. You have the illusion of space at first, but I'm the one who has to live out here. I know what I'm talking about. I'm the one whose mind they tried to take. Ugh. And, after a while it gets hard to tell my family because they're just not going to know what I've been through here, the way I've been treated, and the words that have come at me, like from a bunch of anti-white pieces of shit, anti-white low-life nothings who parasite. They learn they're a parasite, and they're like, okay, parasite functions, this is what I do, and they proceed. We talk about having the moral high ground and being able to demonstrate it like we win something, but I haven't won much like I'd like to have. I very much distrust this place, even if it gets totally quiet every single day. I'll know. I'll remember. And gosh, maybe my mind will produce anti-whiteism for me with nobody around, showing their ass. Because that's how bad it is here. That's okay. I'm not here to talk about that entirely. It just wouldn't have sit well with me not to start shooting a video. I know there is something to do every day. I haven't deteriorated and decayed into the anti-white environment. I still have a sense of self and a sense of purpose that there is like parts of me to be gained on the way that is just way beyond all of this, And, I operate on that premise. That's why I've placed myself in the spotlight again. Or close enough, the closest to the spotlight I get, if this ain't it right. Yeah. It's just another morning getting ready for another day, kind of, but I just want to be here and a participant, and it's like I'm running out of answers every day. Like I'm running out of the answers to what I'll be doing with my time, what I'll want to do with it. I I get to thinking I'd like a full-time job. I remember how the last official job like that went, though. I have Asperger's, and there's just something about me that strikes a nerve with people. It's just like my real self is repulsive to others. That goes deeper than having any type of autism. It's the authentic soul. It's my soul. But we keep rolling with the punches. Stay strong, I say. And I'll try to get my head right over here. I feel like I've got to go soon, but it's more my lack of anything to say than anything I'm in a hurry to do. Gosh, sorry, put that light in your eye like that. Maybe I should ask for suggestions. As to what to do. In a few hours, I'll know if I'm going to work today. I'd like to tell this kid that's been working with us about the movement, and I just don't know how, I know he's got other things on his mind than the white race and our white futures, but that's because so did I. So did I. And you don't want to open Pandora's box at your job. I talked to them about my activism a little, and it must have been fairly welcome. At least nothing gets said to me about it. Uh, the I call him a kid. He's adult aged, but young. Um, he made some remark about his real name sounding like one of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person, and the boss was like, "Hey." Like just ready to jump his ass. I was so proud of that. I it was a more comfortable ride back after that. Like, hey, I've got blue eyes and had blonde hair. Yeah. It's a pretty cool couple of guys I've worked with and kind of befriended. Uh, yeah. I've shared my activism a lot more with my boss than I have my coworker. Um, and I just, perhaps I don't know the young's language anymore, but I always thought I'm just the one to talk to them. Um, Gosh. I just feel like I need to cut my hair and I need to clean my place. These things that have stuck in my mind. I I think it's going to get really boring watching me soon, but maybe I'm just being too self-conscious. I think I'll go in a minute. But I'm still ready to do my part, whatever it is. I know that we're living in a big anti-white matrix, essentially. I haven't seen the movie Matrix, but, it is like a whole new vision when you go free, Like in They Live, except some of these zombies don't have, or aliens, whatever they are in They Live, that thing. It's like that, but it's not. It's not like nobody is human. And sometimes that's the confusing part about talking about this stuff with my family because, like, I can see marks of white guilt here and there about which, I'm not too inclined to say anything like, okay, this is something you happened into, doesn't necessarily have to be that you're anti-white. Um, and I don't want to get too specific because I don't want to arrow out our dirty laundry, but it's really not too bad, Out here in this town in particular, people, they have they have a hold on country, there were quite a few Trump, Trump flags when he had just gotten shot at and stood up with his fist in the air, like There's Trump support, there's rebel flags. Been seeing less of those though since I moved here. But at first, I'm like, this might be a good thing. I saw a lot of miscegenation at first when I got here too, but I've been seeing less of that. And the people are pretty friendly when I actually go to the stores, the main streets, or, talk to someone a little at the park or whatever. So it was pretty hard to put my finger on. Are we going in the direction of white erasure, or are we holding to tradition and preservation out here? I'd say it's both. But the police have been pretty understanding. Of course, I told them I'm being stalked, harassed, and threatened by anti-white terrorists, and you know, if nothing better, even if it was unrelated, an enemy or two got arrested. A self-appointed anti-white enemy or two. That is just so good for me. The worst one of them, like, these anti-white tribunals tend to have a mastermind or a meth supplier or something. For some reason, all these anti-whites are listening to this anti-white, and it's all against you. As it was either Hans the Skipper or Blue Flame yesterday who said, we are not against the anti-whites. The anti-whites are against us. We are just trying to live, do our thing, go running, write something, do something white. And these anti-whites, just by our very existence, find themselves so filled with evil, envy, and hatred of our biospirit, I mean, we are closer to the norm than they. Even as weird as I am, you don't see me with this sick psychotic hatred towards whites. They'd really have you forget that. They'd really have you forget that you're not alone in not hating white people. Like, they want you to think everywhere you could walk, it's them. It's people just like their anti-white asses. And yeah, they say you'll never get away from it, and that they'll be free to poison your ears the best they can for the rest of your life. I don't know what left there is to say about anti-white tribunals and my experience with them. I've scared off 3 vehicles of anti-whites from a neighbor's yard, very near, because I was willing to stand my ground and all they were willing to do was be anti-white. It just was not their day to mess with me, and clearly they saw that. I was actually Well, maybe this is kind of personal, but I was actually messaging Jason at the time in a live stream, not one of his, but one he was also in, and I'm like, they're doing this now. Wait, one of them's left. I kept going outside and whatever I said to them, whatever I did, it's not exactly a pleasant memory, but I made them back off. Like, I was in here on fire, coming out there on fire. I and so it's the anti-whites who are against us, and we're just standing up to them. It's just I'd be talking all day if I tried to tell. Well, anyway, it felt good to tell him. I caused them to retreat. Uh, but I kind of felt like he was leaving me hanging, like when I was asking him what to do, but that was felt what to do. And I noted that his advice had helped me through it. Like, I'm confident in Jason's advice and the instructions he gives us, and it sure helped me navigate my way out of white negativity, navigate my way to greater representability. And yeah, I've had them come by and run their voices, and I come out and call them on it, and call their bluff, and they go, I'm the one who's always going to be here at the end. Never forget that. It's just not the same levels of craziness out here anymore. They don't feel as passionate about their hatred of me and my fight for my people. Not as vocal or proud of it. But when you find yourself in situations like I've described, at some point you must get out. Like, no matter how calm it gets, you remember you're in an anti-white town, you're somewhere you need to not be. And I know, like with the last place I lived, every month I needed out of there. Every day I needed out. Um, and you can't let them fool you. If it calms down or something, I just know this is nowhere to get comfortable. And I miss that. I miss getting comfortable. I miss the sense of normality that I haven't felt in years by now. Uh, One of us got out. I received some encouraging news from a fellow Promethean that he thought he'd never get out of the anti-white environment in which he lives, where it's highly white erased and you've got to watch what you say and do. You just move different. And I knew what he was talking about. The having to move different than you otherwise would, having to live different, like there's a strangulation of the air. there's just puts a big hamper on your life and the things you want to do, you know. Just and having to live with that, it's really a huge burden. It's a huge burden on your cause and your purposes. But I must be bigger and assume the role of the hero, and I do. It just sucks because you don't exactly get to feel like a hero when there's a bunch of garbage in your ears. When even where you work, you'll hear somebody's anti-white shit. It's terrible. But there must be some decent people out here. I don't get close to the people to really know their natures. But they've got first impression down, some of them do, you know. Just it sucks to think people are still living like it's the 90s. You know, just carrying on like nothing's happening to our country and our people and our other Western countries and the whole of our people. Well, you never could get people to care about too much, could you? Like when I found out that Hillary Clinton is a wannabe Satanist and actual pedophile, like I don't think these Pizzagate people like Marina Abramovic and James Alefantes and probably Will Ferrell, like I don't think they know real Satanism or have very effective practices. The most powerful and impressive occultists, both in their poetic skills and just like their fruits, you know. The ones who I just know the difference in occultists. They're not out hurting people. They're not trafficking children. But beside the point of whether or not they really are satanic, when I found out that the Clintons traffic children, they get away with it. So do these other people, Epstein, and you see the art that was on the walls at Comet Ping Pong and the types of so-called art Marina Abramovic makes and that the Podestas have, like, and you know, like Marina Abramovic's covering a child's face, covering a child's mouth on the front of a magazine, and it's very in our faces. And all these years, I couldn't tell anyone. All this time, I couldn't tell anybody whatever my version of the truth was about COVID. And when the story came out and the skies had been filled with chemtrails as far as the eye could see for weeks, you know, I just could never tell people things, you know. It's sometimes, yeah, it reminds me of trying to tell people about Pizzagate, just how everybody wants to stay in this dormant la la land and not really address the issues that are like fucking us up. They're fucking us up. And it's just another day in the 90s, huh? Yeah, that really sucks. But, I think people like that can change very little. And if you're friends or family with people who, gosh, yeah, the best you can do is be a good example to your people. A white positive example. You don't have to agree with any anti-whiteism, and you don't have to tolerate any.